Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is the Sriracha Ranch grilled chicken sandwich. Well, I love a good chicken sandwich pretty much any time of year, but especially in the summer, a grilled chicken sandwich can be really refreshing. Now, one of my favorites is the chicken bacon ranch. I think a lot of people are into that sandwich, so this is kind of based off of one of those sandwiches, but we're gonna spice it up with a little bit of sriracha in our homemade ranch. And that's gonna go on top of chicken thighs. Grilled chicken thighs have been marinated in buttermilk and a pickle brine. So it's gonna be super juicy, really refreshing. We're gonna start off by making that ranch dressing. We'll start with our ranch, and that's gonna begin with 2 tablespoons each of Duke's mayo and sour cream. Of course, you could just use a bottle of ranch, but honestly, I would make it from scratch because it tastes so much better. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of minced parsley, and then a teaspoon each of minced dill and chives. From there, we're gonna add about a ½ teaspoon of freshly grated garlic, grated on the microplane so it just kind of melts right into everything. Also want some lemon juice for the acidity, only need about ½ teaspoon. We're making a really small batch of this today, just what we need for the sandwiches, but you could scale it up and save it for other stuff too. Now let's hit it with a little Lone Star. This is your salt, your pepper, your garlic, and some celery seed. And then before we add our buttermilk, which is the last ingredient, we're just gonna give this a whisk, because I like to add the buttermilk and then decide just exactly how much I want depending on the consistency. But for this recipe, it's probably only gonna be about a teaspoon. Just a touch more. So now we're ready to mix in our sriracha. If you're not making this from scratch, just keep in mind you want 4 parts ranch to 1 part sriracha. So we're gonna add about 4 teaspoons of sriracha to what we've got here already. And we're using the Yellowbird Blue Agave sriracha. The Sriracha Ranch is pretty good if it's made fresh, but it gets even better if it sits overnight. So I would recommend doing it the night before, if you've got the time, at the same time that you start to prepare your chicken thighs, which is what we're gonna get into next, because we're gonna do a soak on these chicken thighs, and you wanna let it soak for about 4 to 8 hours. So we're putting together a buttermilk pickle brine here. We're gonna start with 2 cups of buttermilk. We're gonna add 1 cup of pickle juice to that. So I just strain off the juice from one of your favorite pickles. This fantastic pickle comes from KC Canning Company, and it's their cucumber dilly pickle. Add that to the mix. And then 1 more ingredient. We're gonna do as much or as little sriracha as you want, anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons. So now onto our chicken thighs. You wanna grab 4 good sized chicken thighs for this recipe. And the only thing you really need to look for trimming wise is if anything's been left behind. There's some little bone fragments. Sometimes there's some of that like joint cartilage left behind. These have been cleaned up pretty nice. Throwing our chicken thighs into a bag now, and the marinade goes right over the top. If you got a vacuum seal bag, that's a great idea to use one of those. It has to be a chamber sealer though, since there's so much liquid in here. Or you can just squeeze the air out, and then you want to throw that, like I said, into the fridge for 4 hours at least. Overnight's okay too. So this is a batch that I put in about 5 hours ago this morning, so to be ready to go for the video. We're gonna lay this out on a paper towel so we can soak up some of that excess marinade. So we didn't really add any salt to the marinade so that we could use a seasoning, a rub on the outside, because of course there's salt in the pickle juice and there's salt in the sriracha. We just didn't want to overdo it, so we didn't add anything more to the brine. But now that it's coming out, we're gonna hit it with a little bit of our trail dust all-purpose seasoning. Not gonna go super heavy on our trail dust, just enough to get some of those really great herbaceous flavors in there. We've got salt and garlic, black pepper, those mustard seeds, lots of good stuff. Today we're cooking on the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill. We're running hickory pellets at 450 degrees. Come take a look at the setup. So on the left side here, we have our grill grate grilling panels directly open. There's no diffuser in here so that we can get that flame right on the meat. And on the right side, we've got our griddle, which is not scorching hot, and that's perfect because first we're gonna cook our bacon in here, and then we're gonna toast our brioche buns in the bacon fat to almost fry the edges. Chicken's been on for about 5 minutes now. Now when it comes to flipping it, you'll know it's ready when it releases on its own. If it's sticking, you can encourage it a little bit, but for the most part, if it's stuck, it's not ready to be flipped. These are releasing nicely though. Notice we're using chicken thighs for our sandwich today because they're so much juicier and have so much more flavor, but you absolutely could use chicken breast. Turn our bacon, get it cooking evenly. I'm gonna keep it on this hot side of the griddle where that flame is actually hitting. Kind of hurry that along. But we've got plenty of great bacon grease going on over here, so we can get our brioche buns on here to start toasting. So that bacon grease is kind of pooled at this end. So I'm kind of getting our buns in the grease a little bit. So they're kind of coated in that fat. There we go. Let's close it up. We moved our chicken to a slightly more indirect area where it's gonna finish coming up to temperature. Some of our bacon's ready to come off, so we're gonna be pulling that. We're gonna move some buns closer too. Get on that hot side of the griddle. Start that. That's the thing about toasting in bacon is it's not always as pretty as toasting in butter, but it's got a ton of great flavor. All right, check out the toast on these guys. Like I said, it's almost like they're fried in bacon grease. Looking really nice. We're gonna pull these off. Now with all of these thighs coming up to about 160 internal now, we're gonna move them over to the griddle so we can melt some cheese on top. So each one of these is getting a slice of smoked gouda on top, and then we'll add just a little bit of steam to the chamber to help melt that cheese. All right, fully melted now. Make sure you grab a spatula to pick up any of that skirt that's left on there. You're gonna want some of that goodness on your sandwich. Ready to build our sandwiches now, so we're starting with the bacon on the bottom. This is our moisture barrier. Get a slice and a half on each one. Slice of tomato on top of that. Then we land our chicken. Good heap of shredded romaine on top, and that's the nest that's going to hold our Sriracha Ranch dressing. Throw a bun on top and that's done. Easy. All right, I gotta see a cross section of this guy. Let's check it out. Oh boy. That's some juicy chicken right there. Let's get a bite. It's so good. I heard my jaw pop when I had to get my mouth around that. It was the first bite I've taken today, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Chicken's so juicy, but this whole thing feels really fresh with the lettuce, the tomato, and then, of course, you've got the smokiness of the bacon, which is fantastic. The chicken itself, you pick up on that pickle just a little bit. It's not overpowering, but it's super flavorful and plenty juicy. And then, of course, the Sriracha Ranch. Not super spicy, but it really does twist up that ranch just enough to make it more interesting. And then you've got your soft brioche bun with that crunchy fried bacon edge. Love this sandwich. You guys gotta give it a try. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.